very good friend of mine was with this girl for about 3 years, and I met her at the beginning of their relationship. They were both young. He was about 22, 23. She was about 21. And she was a lovely girl. And I'm a really good judge of character. My intuition is far beyond the average human being, if I have to say so myself. And I said to him, she seems like a great girl. At the time, I said to him, she's a great girl. She's from a good family. She seems humble. This could be a good thing for you. So they have a flourishing relationship for 3 years. She was from Long Island in New York. Good family, Catholic girl, Italian, American. Seemed to be sweet. Claimed she was a virgin. You know, she was young. She might have been right. She may have been lying. But we'll give her the benefit of the doubt. Really sweet girl from a good family. And I thought to myself, this is really going to work out for this guy. What a great girl. I'd love to find the same thing. So he has a 3-year relationship with her. He's a wealthy guy, made a lot of money in crypto. So he wined and dined her and he took her to beautiful places and they did amazing things and they had amazing holidays and she rode in a Lamborghini and a Porsche and she met his family who are also great people. And after all of that, he calls me up one day and he says, bro, you're not going to believe what happened. She dumped me. And not only did she dump me, but she then blocked me on all social media channels. I can't get in touch with her, even if I tried. She blocked me across every social media platform. She's blocked my number. I can't send any text messages. I can't make any phone calls. I can't get in touch with her anymore. Well. I can't say I'm surprised. Not because he'd done anything wrong. He's a very smart guy. Again, good family, smart guy, has the money. You know, knows how to treat people, isn't an asshole at all. Maybe he should have been an asshole. But anyway, she dumps him 3 years later. And I asked, what was the reason? Why did you get dumped? And he said, well, I had an argument with her and her family was on the phone. So I was on loudspeaker and she was with her family. And after that argument, she told me it was over and it would never be the same again. And she dumped me and she walked away from me. And she never gave me a real explanation. And I have no closure. And that's it. It's done. Now you can imagine the difficult conversations I had to have with this guy. I'm good at helping men when they break up and understanding these scenarios. But in this one, I have to be brutally honest. I will not lie to people and tell them what they want to hear. I'll tell them what they need to hear. And I said to him, brother, you may or may not have done something wrong. You are never going to find out from her unless she gets in touch with you. If you are to reach back out, which you could do the classic 30, 60, 90 days, no contact, and then re-engage again casually and try to figure out what it is that you did wrong. Try to seek some sort of closure at that point. So I did advise him to do so. The problem is that he can't get back in touch with her because he's been blocked across all platforms, right? Which is crazy. And you don't want to go like messaging her friends and being that sort of weirdo. You don't want to be that kind of guy. If a woman has blocked you on all platforms and made such an effort to get rid of you from her life, there must be a real reason. And she doesn't want you messaging her friends to get to her. Absolutely not. So imagine the difficult conversations I had with this guy. I told him, brother, all you can do is level up, be better, okay? Hit the gym harder, make more money, work on your goals, cultivate your hobbies, just be a better man, learn, pick up a few books. I told him I read a bunch of books when I had breakups with my girlfriends, but it was me doing the dumping, okay? I read The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle when I broke up with a girl that I was absolutely in love with, but I had to dump because we weren't compatible. So I did a lot of growth and reading when I dumped my girlfriends and was heartbroken. And that really helped me become a better man. Cultivating the knowledge from other people in the past who have done these things, who are teaching you how to be more patient, how to be more logical and rational, and how to get over such heartbreak and difficulties. So that's what I personally did. And I told him to do the same thing. But the lesson here is that you could do so much for someone. Years could pass, and in one click of the fingers, one argument, one thing goes wrong, and she'll walk away from you forever. That's a really scary thought, isn't it? I mean, that scares the shit out of me. Thinking I could spend my whole life with someone, giving them everything. Dinners, flying everywhere, the best sex, whatever you want, the absolute best of the best. And you do one thing wrong, and it triggers some crazy emotion, and it's over. And it's over for life. That's some scary shit, right? I mean, I feel so sorry for this guy. I just didn't know what to say to him in the end. I said to him, brother, I'm lost for words. You must level up, but you may never find out why she dumped you. And the hardest thing in the world for people is a lack of closure, right? No matter what you say, there'll be a bunch of comments here saying, just move on, bro, just move on. Oh, shut up. Because when you were dumped or when you broke your heart, what kind of advice is just move on, bro, just move on, you don't need her? No, you need more of an explanation than just move on. Yes, you know to move on, but hold on a second. Why am I moving on? What did I do wrong? Perhaps I should learn something from this scenario. And the lesson is not, just don't get close to women. Don't pour your heart out. Just be single, it's much easier. Again, there's a lot of comments on my YouTube saying, just be single, it's much easier. No, fuck that. Some men want to find love. And they deserve to find love, and they find it. I'm making you aware of some of the consequences of love, which could end in absolute heartbreak, and you'll never know why. And that's the really scary thing in this scenario. So it just teaches us that you could do so much for someone, but it could end at the click of your fingers. Now, women are beautiful creatures, and I absolutely love them. I adore them. I adore my mother. She's the best woman in the world, and I'd love to find a woman who's half as good as she is. But the difference between men and women is that women are very emotional, and men, you can have a logical conversation with them. So if I have a breakup with a guy friend of mine, and we've had a big argument, then we might take a week off each other, and then we will reconvene and have a logical conversation as to what went wrong. How did I hurt you? What can I do to improve? And it's a back and forth, like a university debate about what I did wrong, what you did wrong, and how do we improve, and how do we come together, and how do we make sure this doesn't happen again? So men can have those sorts of logical conversations where you can come to a conclusion and you can solve your pain. However, the difficult thing is that women are designed completely differently, right? They run on their emotions. So if you ticked her off, like in this instance, whatever he's done over the phone, whatever's happened that's pissed her off and her family, and that's just turned her away in one day after 3 years of bliss, and it's now suddenly over forever, and you block me and don't tell me why, that's not logical, my friends. That's emotional. She may have a logical reason for it, but if she had some sort of heart in her, she would get back in touch and perhaps explain herself. Or I'm sure he's tried to reach out through text messages because he told me he has, but they're blocked, so he simply can't. So if he was able to reach out to her, she should at least give him some sort of explanation and say, hey, you did this, you really bugged me, and I was tired of it, and you really hurt me and my family, and I don't think I could ever forgive you. And if I ever feel like I can forgive you, I'll be back in touch. But for now, it just won't work, and I wish you luck. That's all you have to do. Just close the book nicely on the poor guy because you've destroyed him. So this sweet, innocent girl at 21 that I met 3 years ago, who was so lovely, she was so lovely. Now, to me, she's a bitch. She just is. Of course she's a bitch. How can I support her in this notion? I feel like reaching out, which obviously I won't, and saying, hey there, my friend is devastated and he would love to know what actually happened. I'm not telling you to get back with him or get back in touch with him. I'm just saying he wants some sort of explanation as to why you've walked away from him after 3 years of bliss and him spending all this money on lavish dinners, lavish trips. All that shit has gone down the drain. Imagine that. That's just one of many cases we now have in today's world. Think about all the high-profile divorces where men have lost half their shit after showing the woman the best possible life. All I'm saying in this instance is, give some sort of explanation as to why you've walked away from him. Don't just block him and walk away after being in love, You lost your virginity to this guy. What more does a guy need to do? He's done everything. By the book, and women don't work by the book because there's no logic behind this, right? You can't write a book on this. You'd have to write 1 billion books and you still wouldn't get to the answer because emotions are extremely complicated. We do our best to try to explain these emotions. But if you've taken a girl's virginity and you've had the most blissful 3 years and her family loved you, but you had one bad argument and something triggered her and she walks away from you forever and blocks you, I cannot support that shit anymore. This is the reason why I do this, because so many of us need help in these sorts of scenarios. That scenario is heartbreaking and shocking and pisses me off more than it pisses him off and makes me think to myself, why would she do that? But my friends, let's try to understand female nature or try and reason with it rather than try and find solutions to it. In this instance, there is no solution. He does not get her back. And I'm trying my best to understand where she came from and why she's devastated this guy. But we could run rings around potential answers. And yes, the answer is move on, sure. But that's not the best advice. There's got to be something deeper than that. Of course, the best way to move on for a man, and I would know from past experiences, because I've broken up with 3 girls that I was very dearly in love with, and have never been dumped, thankfully. I'm not sitting here bragging and saying, I've never been dumped, I'm the man. I just broke up with them before it became a complete disaster, because I was aware enough and intuitive enough to realize, hey, this isn't compatible. I do love this person, but we're not going to get married and we're not going to be together. So I better just cut the head of the snake now in case it does more damage and tries to bite me and inject its venom into me to destroy my life. My poor friend, he'll never find out what really went wrong.